everyone, welcome to the episode. We are going to be talking about weight gain today. And I don't know, we'll just see where the conversation takes us. But I guess each of our own experiences with it in our own recovery, how we dealt with it, what it looked like for us, what the experience was. And I think one thing I know is going to come out is that we both had very different experiences, right, Saf?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
Yeah.
just to start the episode with that anyway, like everybody's recovery looks completely different. So how you feel about it, like there's no shame or judgment, there's no right way or like expectation on recovery, what recovery should look like, what your eating disorder should look like, anything like that. So just from the top, yeah, going in with an understanding that like it will be completely different for everybody. But yeah, maybe we could just talk through what was it like for you in your recovery?
Yeah. It's hard sometimes to like think back to like how much a big thing it was in my life because it was huge. Like before going into treatment compared to after treatment was completely different. So before treatment, I was obsessed with my weight. And it's really hard for me to remember. I was telling my husband yesterday, I was like, oh, I'm doing this podcast with Meg tomorrow. And I was like, what was it like for me? I really struggled to think. And he was like, yeah, you really struggled. And he was like, do you remember like you used to write it down? And I was like, oh yeah, I did used to write it down, and like I completely forgot about that fact. And I definitely weighed myself too often. I would note it down. Like my day would be dictated by it. My self-worth was based on it. Like my weight had to be so, otherwise everything kind of fell apart. And then when I went into treatment, so just as context, if this is like the first podcast you'll listen to, I actually went into treatment at a healthy BMI. And that's actually when I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to continue on with this. Like, how do you keep going? This is the hardest part. Like to continue with the weight gain once you've reached this like acceptable weight for society standards, or like the doctor's not telling me it's critical anymore, or whatever like that. So that's when I went into treatment. And I think that when I went into treatment, I think it was there's such power in somebody validating the fact that just this is not your end point. This is not the weight you're meant to be. Let go. And I think because every week I would then be weighed by our therapist, sorry, and I didn't weigh between those sessions. And I just used to have the weight. It was a quick thing, weigh, have a session after. So any issues, any worries kind of were unpacked and we'd move forward from there. And I didn't note it down anywhere. I didn't record it anymore. I just kept it to that particular situation. I think that helped so much. And I think as well, because at that point, I let go of like this need to control my weight and like know the number. It was what defined me. Because I let go of that, I think it made it so much easier. Like I know for you, it was a different experience. Like every week was so much harder. But for me, I don't know. I feel like I just got used to it. I was like, okay, this is not me anymore. I'm not trying to stick into this like tight control of this particular weight anymore. And I think I'm quite I'm a very all or nothing black and white thinker. Surprise, surprise. As a lot of people you can sort of are. So I think I was just like, that's not me anymore. I'm not like the the anorexic one. I'm not the whatever one. I was like, and I think that I was just like, well, if I'm not going to be that person anymore, let me just like give this recovery thing my all. Um, and I think also at the same time, I had found a really good community. I was part of like if anybody knows of Nicola Rinaldi, she wrote the book No Period Now What. So I joined her like Facebook group, and it was like, I think I was one of the first kind of cohorts, and it was everybody was talking about the fact that they needed to eat a lot and let go of this control of weight, get their periods back and all this kind of stuff. And then I started following people like on social media that were talking about like gaining weight, and I'd watch your videos and Mia's videos and that kind of thing. And I was just like, I felt like I was part of that community as opposed to like more of like the anorexic side.
Mhm.
Look, when I was recovering as well, like social media was not as big as it was then. That was another thing I was reflecting on with my husband. I was like, did I used to go on Instagram back then? Like, was Instagram a thing? And it was like, I don't think it was. And so I think now people have so much more battles because you get like on your feeds random people coming up. Whereas when I was recovering, you could really choose the people you wanted to follow. I didn't feel like I was just like going through people. So yeah, just all that to say, I mean, we'll go into it more about like how it was what made the weight gain easier or harder or whatever. But for me, definitely from before recovery to after recovery, like going into recovery with my treatment team, it was a very different experience. Yeah,
Interesting. Almost like you changed how you identified with it and how you saw a
absolutely.
picture of it. Like actually now, like the obsession with weight and numbers and whatever reflects this in my life, and it's not where I want to be and how I want to live, the person I want to be. Is it like that? Like actually reflect
Exactly.
go, and so I'm going to jump into that and be that person.
Exactly, exactly. It was like a letting go and jumping in because I think I was just sick of it. And I think because I'd got to so far myself, I just needed somebody to give me that like one more push.
Mm.
Like just jump in now. Like stop like tiptoeing around and going slowly and avoiding these foods and holding on to a little bit of that scare, of like letting go to the weight gain. Just do it. Just go for it. It's okay. And I think that that was, yeah, really, really, really helpful to me. It was really, really helpful.
This is where I love that we've had different experiences, that you can say, like,
Yeah.
you can just do that. Like, I struggled to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
good to know that, like, if you are able, just do it. Like, there's no one way you
hmm
have to be. You don't have to hold on to an obsession. If you feel able to just be like, no, that's not me anymore. I'm just not going to do that.
Mm. And it's not that I was like not unwell. Like I think that's what sometimes people feel like, oh well,
Exactly.
that's different because maybe you weren't. No, I had anorexia
Yeah.
for like 10 years. It was, and it was, I was steeped in it. It ruled my whole life. And I've no idea like how this kind of switch flipped. But I think I was just
So,
so sick of it. And I do see that with some people in my coaching where they're so sick of it. And then I think when they start coaching, it's just like a switch flips because they're just like they needed that
ready.
one person to just give they're so ready they just need that one more person to like give them that little nudge of yeah your instinct was right, you were right to let go of that, keep going. So I don't think Kareen did that for me where she was like our therapist, just keep, yep, you need to go further, this is still disordered, like that little nudge.
And when you said that about like you kind of just needed the validation that like you could continue, you didn't need to be a certain weight to be eligible for recovery or,
Mhm.
a certain stage of recovery, anything like that. Like, how did you do that? Was it looking at like, well, what is the state of my life right now? How does food control my life? Like, what would it take to maintain this weight? Was it that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, it was that of realizing like, oh, surely this can't be recovery. Like surely this can't be it. Like I'm still not eating freely. I'm still not eating like all the people around me. Like this can't be the end. It felt almost like a more difficult situation. I felt like I was not having the same eating disorder rules. It was starting to kind of morph into orthorexia as well at that point. So I was like, okay, well, I will be this weight as long as I do it in a quote unquote healthy
Uh-huh.
way. And I'm whatever, and this is my new identity. And I was like, this is even worse. Like I've got more worries, more restrictions. I'm worrying more about ingredients and blah, blah, blah. So I think that like, yeah, kind of like really like letting go of that and speaking to Korean about the fact that it had been shape shifting into that.
Mm.
And I didn't want that. I wanted like true freedom.
Mm.
And I think physically it was clear I still, at that point I still had my periods back. Like my periods came back at a later point. Like that is not obviously the signal of like your weight being at the right time, but that was just like one very obvious way.
Yeah.
So like my periods were not there. The thoughts were still crazy. I still had like compulsions around movement and, worrying about food, preoccupied with food. Yeah, I just felt really trapped. It was
Yeah.
like an awful, awful time, really. Mm.
I have a client who says to me that, like, oh, but what if my body actually does want to be this weight? And I'm like, so what would it take to maintain that weight? Like, would you have to control your food and your eating and blah, blah, blah? And if you have to use behaviors to maintain that weight, it's not the weight your body wants to be.
No, absolutely. Like if you've got to do all of this stuff, like you say, Meg, like that fluttering of feet underneath the water, like, the duck, the swan, that one, like then that's going to come at a cost. That's going to take energy from other places in your life. And yeah, I think that kind of sick enough of living that way was just like the thing that like let me like, just let go of it all. And I think that I again, different to us, I started to enjoy the process. I
Mm,
remember like really enjoying being able to go out with my husband and just have dinner or like go out and just get myself food and not worry about like having to be with somebody, get myself lunch. I really did enjoy that. And I think, I don't know. When I look back now, like, how I talk about like when I had the eating disorder, it feels like this dark cloud over my life. It all just feels very dim and like, but when I look over that period, I just feel really like I think of it so happily.
Uh,
So it felt like just very, I don't know. Was it like an increase in serotonin or something going on? I don't know. But it was like something felt very freeing being able to let go of it all
mm,
and just actually move forward. And I felt like it was like for me and my husband, it was like the best time for us because
that's
I
really
think, yeah, I think I didn't need to lie anymore. I just felt so much more value aligned. I felt like I could join in, I could be flexible. He wants to go to that restaurant. Yeah, sure. But
yeah.
you want to eat? Sure. And I liked that version of myself more than I liked how my body looked at a certain weight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
so like
think
the life side trumped any discomfort you felt or trumped the
yes.
anxiety you felt around it, and you kind of shifted your attention onto what are all the benefits of it, what am I gaining life-wise, person-wise,
Mhm.
relationship-wise. So it's not that the other side was like completely went, you still maybe had
No.
the thoughts and feelings, but you kind of shifted your focus or shine the spotlight
Yeah.
more onto like life.
Shine my spotlight onto life, but I feel like it was like it obviously some days were harder than others, obviously. But as a whole, it wasn't like and you explained this so well, Meg, so I might pass it over to you to explain it better. But I felt like my lens had completely changed.
Mm,
So it's like how you've said before how like you're not going to recover, sorry, with the same like eating disorder lens that you had. So it's like, yes, I had to shine the spotlight and yes, I had to use the tools in those harder moments to remind myself of the bigger picture, what I wanted for my life, da da da. But actually, on a day to day, things just got easier naturally as well.
spontaneous
Yeah,
change.
spontaneous change. I think it's because like when your brain is more like
Yeah.
fed and your body is like less anxious, like somatically, I'm sure it like helps with that.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
say spontaneous, but with change, like not
with
spontaneous.
change, yeah, yeah, you mean like not that kind of like it's just your body doing it itself. So I think that just because my body, my hormones were working better, all of those things, I think it just changed my lens, and I feel like I didn't even see myself in the same way anymore.
Mm,
By the way, still had bad body image days when I had anorexia. Like it's not like when I was at my worst, I felt great about my body either. Actually, I felt bad on most days. So it's funny how actually when I got better, I would say I had less bad body image days, maybe because my focus was less on it, or I'd let go of that control, or less of the attachment to it anymore, or yeah, maybe my brain was just in a healthier place.
the
But
lens
it's
thing, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So because like I'll give an example. So when I had anorexia, I like struggled with digestion, again, surprise, surprise, and I'd get a lot of bloating. And I remember somebody asked me, like literally at the point of really bad anorexia, oh, are you pregnant? Like a random person just came up to me by the swimming pool, like, hey, we've been wondering, are you pregnant? Like, I promise you, I went back to that hotel room, my family were visiting, I cried the whole day. I cried the whole day, and I didn't understand why everybody didn't understand the fact why I was crying. Compared to like at a later point, somebody asked me if I was pregnant, maybe because I've been married a few years, I'd recovered, my body had changed. People probably noticed that change. Somebody asked me if I was pregnant. I was a bit like, that's a bit rude, but moved on with my day.
Mm,
And
mhm,
I think that attachment or how my body was in my life was in such a different place at that point. I don't
It's
know if that makes sense.
100%, yeah, it just wasn't as important. Like that
Yeah.
thing of if something's 98% important and you get a comment that upsets you, you're 98% upset. But if you've shrunk it down to 2%, you can still be upset. But if it's only 2% upset, then you kind of can move on and focus on the rest of
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
life.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, how was your experience? Because it's very different.
It was very different. Very, very different. I would describe it as much more torturous, to be honest. Like, uh, I couldn't switch off from weight as easily. And the experience of like, well, my journey was regaining weight, like letting go of weight suppression. And I'd say it was quite late that I had that kind of shift that you're explaining towards like, oh, that I can see the benefits of this. It is taking up less space in my brain. Maybe I could let go of what's the number and just not care about it as much. That happened quite late, and I had to go through several weeks of like much more torturous I just felt like I didn't want to do it. I felt like I wanted to rip my skin off. My whole week revolved around getting weighed. And then what I saw on the scale kind of dictated my whole mood, how my week was going to go, all of my thinking. And it was a big battle with every time I saw a weight increase on the scale, being able to continue that week because instantly all my brain would do would be, now you have to undo it. Or it's because you ate X on X day, like, oh, well, last Tuesday afternoon you had a so and so, and that's exactly what's caused this. And now you can't have so and so's anymore. Like, it was a constant in my brain. It was like it was just trying to solve it and
Yeah.
figure out, like, well, exactly what has caused this. We need to know exactly. And we need to step in and control it again and stop this happening again. You know, it was almost like when it happened, it was almost like my brain went, well, see, this is why you can't trust the process. This is why you need to step in and control it again. And like, it was just such a like mental battle, you know, between keeping on going and continuing despite my brain being like screaming at me, my body screaming at me, like, stop, what you're doing is wrong, you know.
Mhm.
And I think I did fall into like yo-yo cycles of like, oh, I'll toe dip into recovery. Like, yeah, I feel motivated now. I'm going to give it a good go. I'd try. And then if I saw my weight increase, I'd be like, oh, no, that's not the right thing to do. Like, now you need to run back. And then you're like in that back and forth of, I feel like you could spend ages there, to be honest, like not really making progress,
Mhm.
but like giving it a go, seeing the result, hating it, undoing it, giving it another go, you know, like that kind of yo-yo
You could be
experience.
there for a long time, couldn't you? You can go back and forth in there for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was hard. It was really like hard and long, it felt like, as in that didn't ease up very quickly.
I love that we have such different experiences because I'd say
Yeah.
probably a lot of people have your experience, and it's nice to know, like, oh, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong. It is meant to be torture and it's meant to be hard. And even like with the best therapist in the world, like, the best
Yeah.
dietitians, with everybody, you had a supportive husband, family, like you had the best people around you, a lovely life. It's still hard. It didn't get easy. And it's just kind of like how I can relate to it because I had a similar thing with like exercise,
Mm.
like that feeling, like I didn't feel that felt like it took a long time to go, and like it would dictate my day. And that skin crawling feeling I
Yeah.
felt with like giving up exercise.
Yeah.
So I get that. I understand what you're saying with
Mm.
that. It's tough. It's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, as in like the thing your brain latches onto kind of thing. And then when you stop or when you go against it, that's the thing that gives you hell. And it takes
Exactly.
longer for it to
Exactly.
like die down and take its place.
Exactly. And was it all the way till the end, do I say? Or did it change? Did the torture,
Mm.
would you say it was, did you like the benefits of being more free? Um,
Mm.
like, were you able to look at the other side of things? Was there anything that kind of like helped?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
A good question. And I'd say I had to really force my attention onto it. Like it sounded like you had quite a natural process of being able to like enjoy the
Yes.
benefits and like it kind of a bit more naturally happened.
Yes.
I would say I had to put in a lot of work shift that lens, like list writing, going like making myself go out and do things that I could enjoy that could trump any discomfort. But it was confusing as well because then I'd even do the things and not be able to enjoy them because I was panicking. Oh, but what's this
Mhm.
going to do to my weight? So things that I now love and enjoy and have the freedom around, like going out for lunches or dinners or getting a takeaway or, people cooking for me, offering me food and me being able to accept it. I now enjoy those things that give me a lot of freedom in life, but I hated them during the process. So it was a complicated, like, I had to do a lot of, I'm doing this because I ultimately want to be able to do it, even though in the moment it was torture.
Yes.
Really
Yeah.
felt like very cumulative torture. Like, I feel like it was like building up blocks of anxiety or blocks of discomfort because, say, I saw my weight increase 1 week. All I would want to do is knock that block down and be like, that's too scary. That block needs to go. But quite the opposite, I'd then have to be like, and now I still go home and have my lunch. I still have my next stack. I still challenge the things that I'm challenging this week. I still have to see my weight go up again. Like all I wanted to do was like break it, like release the pressure valve,
Yeah.
like artificially fix it and just feel okay again, feel okay again. But that pushing on and being like, I feel discomfort and I'm now going to do the next thing that causes me even more discomfort and then the next thing that causes me even more discomfort. It was really, really hard. And I did use things to try and help myself, but I think ultimately it was just, it felt hard and I did it anyway.
Yes. Because of the life you ultimately wanted, like the future that you ultimately wanted, and being sick
Yeah.
of like being stuck in it, being
Yeah.
stuck in this thing, this yo-yo, what you were saying, this toe dipping, and you were like, you tried that, it's not worked. I've got to like keep going through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And remembering stuff like that definitely helps. Like zooming my lens out and looking at the trajectory of life a bit more and like what is toe dipping giving me? Like what is this yo-yo giving me? If I looked at the course of a year and like whatever stage of recovery I was at, like if I continued on that path, would I be happy with it another year, in another year's time, in 5 years' time, that kind of thing?
Mhm.
Or did I want something different, which I did? And so then it was like, okay, so at some point you're going to have to break the cycle, like you're going to have to change the path consistently, not take one step on the path, don't like it, and then go back to the same path
Mhm.
of the eating disorder, because that will get you to the same place of the eating disorder. But it's
Yes.
hard because every step you take on the path of change feels horrendous, or for me it did. And so then
Yeah.
it's like almost like confirmation, like, well, this is why you don't want to do it. Like my brain was literally there to be like, see, it felt like that every week. See, this is
Yeah.
why.
This is why.
This is
This is
why you
why.
need to take
Yeah.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had
Gosh,
that temptation, like every week I would have that
every
temptation
week.
to step back in, correct it, take control, fix it, like look how terrible it feels. But that feeling doesn't last forever. I don't feel
Yeah.
it now. And now I enjoy all of the benefits of having done it. Like I'm so grateful now to past me for having done it. But there was
Yeah.
a lot of like blind faith or doing it for future me or just
Hmm.
doing it because I wanted something different than what I had, that kind of thing, which was really
Amazing.
difficult.
Okay, cool. I have two questions off the back of that.
Oh.
One question is, did it get easier? When did it get easier? Obviously, like, did it get easier when you hit like where your body was happy and you were like, I'm allowed to maintain here, or my body's happy here. It's just maintaining. It's not, doesn't seem to be changing with the flexible eating. Like, is that when it got better? Or was it after a while of being there? Was it when you got near there? Like, at what point for you?
Yeah, I'd say it was quite a gradual process. And there's probably a point when it happened when I hadn't even realized it had happened, sort of thing. So now I
Yes,
have to look back. Like I can easily remember when I was obsessed, but it's harder to remember when I became unobsessed because I wasn't noticing it. Do you know what I mean?
definitely.
So,
That's
yeah, so
exactly how I
it's a
feel.
weird
Yeah.
one to try and pin that down because I wasn't noticing in the same way.
Yeah.
But if I th like the way I can think about it is that probably similar to you, I did hit a point where I let go and I was
Mm,
just like, this is not working for me. Like my body is never just going to adapt to the way I want it to be. I think
mm,
realizing that like my brain couldn't decide these things, like I couldn't decide in my mind the way I wanted my body to be, and then my body would just do it. Like my
yes.
body had its own agenda and its own set point, its own genetics, so feeling a bit like if I want to maintain a weight that's not natural for my body, I will be
Mm,
on a perpetual, eternal diet, effectively. I
mm.
didn't call it a diet, but like I would
Yeah.
eternally have to restrict my intake. And then that just sounded so horrendous to me that I
Yes.
think then at some point I just went, okay, enough. And then
Yeah.
I don't know how, again, I can't think how it happened. Did I stop looking at my weight as much? Did I just not take it in as much? I don't really know. But there was a point where I just went, it's not up to me anymore. I'm going to let go.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think your point of letting go. I can recognize that it happened to me very early in my recovery when I went into therapy, but for you, it happened a little bit more into therapy.
Yeah. And yeah, I think also that previous treatment had almost like done me a disservice with this as well, because I had a lot in my head of like comments people have made to me in the past or targets I'd had set, or even people would say like, oh, you'll be recovered at this weight, or it's
Oh
just
gosh.
stupid stuff like that. Like, and
See, I never had that. I'm so grateful for
no
that. I never
problem.
had that. I
It's
never had
really
it.
harmful. Like it really,
Really
really
harmful.
sticks with you. And so then when you get to like whatever a weight or a time you've had a comment before, and then you're like, well, I should be fine now. And it's then very hard to have that like the validation of like, but I'm not fine.
Not
Like
fine.
that person can make all the comments they want. The fact is, I'm not fine. Like this, I think
Yeah.
about food all day. I would have to restrict my food or engage in behaviors to keep my body at this weight. So like shining that lens in of being like, this is not the weight my body wants to be, or I cannot eat unrestricted at this weight.
Mhm.
This is not my unsuppressed body weight. That was a very difficult thing to do once I'd heard outside comments.
Influences and comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all the expectations I had were ones I'd given myself.
Uh,
Like I was like,
bit more.
okay, I'll be okay if I just get in the healthy quote unquote BMI. Like, that was nothing that anybody else had ever
Uh-huh.
said to me. And then, yeah, I think that luckily I went around the right type of people, the right type
Yeah.
of influences, but I didn't have a dietitian. I had like somebody twice. But I didn't have anybody give me those kind of like
Mm.
ballparks. And also, I one other person that really helped me actually in my recovery that I've got to say is our friend Florence that we've mentioned before on the podcast. Meg, say what her Instagram is again.
It's beyond body image, but BY, like not BEY, BYOND dot body image. All one.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Meg. Yeah, so she was so helpful to me. I got in touch with her through that community I mentioned, that hypothalamic amenorrhea community. And she was really helpful in just telling me to like let it go. And she was so generous with her time with me. I think we met and then she would stay in contact with me on WhatsApp. I'd message her when I was struggling. And I think that that's the thing is like you need those kind of people around you who don't say, well, just get to this BMI. You know what? Actually, people can say it with the best of intentions, like just get to this. Like they're trying to make it like ease for you because probably one of your biggest fears is that your weight's going to go up and up and up and never stop. Spoiler, it doesn't happen. But like, so they probably say it to like not scare you of like, don't worry, just get to here. But actually, those like numbers can really stick with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I think
Mm.
the thing I found with them is like I understand targets, and like to me, they actually were helpful as like stepping
Yeah.
stones that kept me moving forward. But I think they need to be seen as that, like stepping stones,
Yes.
not whereas I think in my head they became ceilings. Like if a
Yeah.
target was set, that was the max anything could ever be, and that would be full recovery, and I would hit that point and never go a
A
ounce
bit over.
gram over. Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like having them like framing them as stepping stones and like you'll get somewhere and then reevaluate, is this natural for my body? Blah blah blah.
Yes. Which I think most professionals do. Like most professionals do that, don't they? They kind of like, right, we're just going to get here, then we're going to reevaluate and go. But it's
Yeah.
so funny how like an eating disorder brain like can like latch onto like that. Like they don't listen to, oh, the flexible part? No, I'm going to push that to the side. Like, see, no, that's what they said. I'm going to go to the letter. Like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's good to see it more as a flexible thing if you can, like really try to focus on that. Yeah, and the other question I had for you was that after you would do your weigh-in and like the fear was really high and you were like, oh my gosh, I want to like go back. Like, how did you get out of that? Because like for me, I would have a weigh-in and like immediately after the weigh-in, my husband would pick me up because I wasn't driving then. And then we'd just like literally go for dinner immediately and like we'd do one of the challenges that was set for the
Mm.
week and that like got me out of that like headspace and it didn't allow the thoughts to fester and like again that black and white thinking kind of like type of person that I am. I was kind of like, right, that's the week, that's the intention set, this is how we're doing it,
Okay.
right, this is how we're going. And that kind of helped me. I wondered if there was anything you did, like you spoke to Bren about it or you like did plan something or you went straight to your dietitian because you had a dietitian, didn't you? And maybe like they helped you plan out the week how you'd fit it in. Like how did you snap out of that and not let it go through your week?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I did snap out of it. I think it did go through my week.
Yeah.
And despite that, I still did the things, so
Stuff.
exactly as you're saying, like I did have a plan for like, okay, and these are the things I'm still challenging this week. I need to repeat them this many times. I'll do them on this day. So it wasn't just like I went into the week blind, like, okay, I feel
Mm.
terrible, let's go. It was like, I feel terrible, and here's the plan I still need to stick to, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely like therapist, dietitian would help me with that. And then it was doing it, like that's where the blocks were, like leaving the session and being like, and now I need to have my lunch, and having the proper lunch or the challenge thing that I'm having that challenging snack in the afternoon, then having my dinner, like the
Mhm.
blocks, the blocks, the blocks, but not taking an opportunity to like smash them down just to feel a bit better in the moment.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. Like, and that's what you talk about, the fact that your motivation can go up and down, but your actions need to stay completely consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were some like things to think or sound bites, mantra kind of things that really helped. Like thinking things like, I need to give my body a chance. Like if my mind just steps in straight away and takes control, I'm never even finding out what my body would do. I'm not giving it a chance to get used to this food. Like it's never going to trust food that's in one week and then out the next. And then maybe you're allowed it back in the next week, but then it's gone again the next. Like your poor body's not going to know if it's coming or going. So
Yeah.
having that, like just give my body a chance to have consistency with these foods, gain trust around them. That was a really helpful like thing to hold in my mind.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's such a good one, isn't it? And I think that seeing things from your body's point of view
Yeah.
is a really helpful thing to do
Yeah.
in recovery. I
Yeah.
think it's such a mindset shift.
Yeah, because if you keep adding something and taking it out, like it's still completely conditional, like it's conditional around your weight. Like body, you're allowed this if the weight is this, you're not allowed it if the weight is this. That's
Mhm.
a total condition attached to food. Like that is the eating disorder. So breaking those conditions, like another thing I had was like sever the tie. Like to me,
Yeah.
weight was completely tied to food. So if my weight did this, my food then had to do this. If my weight did this, I was allowed to do this with my food, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I didn't want to live with them completely tied like that because everything was then tied to it. Like my mood was tied to it, my relationships would be tied to it, my routine for the week, what I thought about. Like literally, my whole week revolved around seeing my weight, and then everything was dictated from that. And I didn't
That's
want it to be like that. So, like, to sever that tie, I had to disconnect the two. So they now operate independently. Like, my weight is one thing, my food is completely separate. The two are not related. You know, I
mm
don't maintain a tie through my behaviors. It's
hmm
really, really difficult. And I think it's difficult because the opportunities to sever the tie are on the weeks when like you see your weight go up, you don't like something, like you're feeling uncomfortable, and then you have to continue with food anyway. Like I'm breaking that the like condition of if my weight does this, then my food does this. Like, no, you like cut that tie effectively. And then it's my weight did do that thing. And then my condition is now food has to do this. And that's the bit you don't follow through with. Like you then break that cycle, break that behavior, break the rule, break the condition, whatever it is, which is really, really difficult.
It's really difficult. And I guess that's where those like opposite actions work because by doing the opposite, you are breaking that and you're showing that they are two independent things. If you're constantly doing one as a result of the other, like you're just reinforcing that wiring that no, this is what we do
Yeah.
when that happens. And those are the thoughts that are going to keep
Yeah,
popping up.
definitely. Yeah. And I get that the two are tied, like there is a
Yeah.
biological relation between the two, but how's it working for you to keep them tied in such a like controlled tight way? Like you don't actually have to have control over these two things, you know, you can kind of just let them be and let them exist separately.
Yeah, like literally for centuries, there was people didn't used to step on scales or like even be conscious about calories or anything. Like, and it's more of a recent thing. But they all survived. They did
Yeah,
okay. Probably had more brain space to be able to focus on other things.
yeah,
And so,
definitely.
yeah, like it's not a human
Yeah,
need to know these things
yeah,
really. It's just something that we've acquired that
yeah.
made us feel safe at a certain time. But now it's
So true.
definitely not making us feel safe. It's now making everything feel like a threat.
Yeah, that's so true. And like to me, it felt like I was trying to solve a formula. Like I'd see my weight and then I'd go into like equations, and almost like I was trying to get a PhD in my own body and in my own weight. Like so much thought went into it in that equation way. Like, well, if last week this happened with this food, then this week this will happen with this food. Like,
Mm,
and it's something I say with clients as well. One, can you even do it? Like, can you actually solve the formula? I know because every week is different, like where you are in your cycle, in the year, like stress, sleep, illness, age. There are so many things that impact it. Like, you will never solve the formula of your body. And then
absolutely.
also, even if you could, is it worth it? Like, what is going into trying to solve that formula? The amount of like headspace, exactly like you say, like the effort, the control, the things you have to miss out on, the rigidity, the behind the scenes work, the double life, the
Mm,
behaviors, like it takes over everything. So
mm.
even if you could get a weekly answer to this formula, at what cost?
Yeah. And that shows that you as a person are a very like analytical thinker, a very like problem solving person. And imagine like if you put those skills of problem solving to something that actually mattered to
Yeah,
you personally. Like I know exactly what you're saying because I was so in the same place like of needing to like solve things and analyzing and wondering and calculating and this and that. But I knew that wasn't what I wanted to be. Like, I was like, I want to solve big world issues. I know that was like pretty naive of me, but like, well, maybe not, or maybe it was more like more aligned actually. But like, I was like, that's not really what I want to be spending my time thinking about and worrying about. Like, there are really big dreams that I have to help other people in the world, and like, I'm wasting my problem solving skills on this. I could be like problem solving for really amazing things
Yeah.
instead,
Yeah. Or I
you
could just
know?
sit and read a book in peace.
Yeah, I know. I love how you always like throw that in when I go a bit too much. You're like, chill out. Okay. Sophia's going for a UN Peace Prize. Just chill out. It's
No
okay
more
to
peace
just,
prize over here.
I know. Oh, the dream. It's
Like another
okay to want
puzzle.
to recover because you just want to read a book or listen to a podcast on the sofa. That is very true. Yeah. So either way, like that energy is taking up space that you'd want to be spending it in other ways, like whatever that is for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an enjoyable way to spend your weeks. And like the time passes, you're kind of locked in each week of like, okay, I've just been weighed and this happened. Next week I get weighed and what will happen then, kind of thing. And then you're so focused on it that week. And then that week passes and then you're focused on the next week. And in like
Mm,
10 years' time, you're not going to be like, oh, week number, I don't even know what number week we're on, 42 in 2025. What was I doing with my weight? It's just
yeah.
in the bigger picture it doesn't matter in that way, or likely, I imagine, like it won't matter to you in the bigger picture, but like in the minute, it matters so, so, so much. But zoom out and look, because each of those weeks add up and become a year, and then those
Hmm.
years add up, like, time passes, and is that how you want to be spending the time kind of thing?
Absolutely. Even if you think back now, it's not like you remember it being like an awful situation, but you can't remember on this day I felt like
Right.
this and that
Yeah.
was so awful. Like we do forget so much. As much as you kind of remember, you almost like remember like the themes or the energy or the emotion around it. It's hard to very remember exact details, but like the things that actually matter, you want to remember those details of, and they will be like more enduring and life lasting. Like you remember those really important moments, probably like when you got married and all those special moments. Like, but when you have an eating disorder, it's almost like, yeah, it draws you to the insignificant that
Mm,
you want. It feels so
yeah.
significant though. It feels everything. It feels more than anything. But like, yeah, you don't want that to be your significant anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, something that really helped me with the weight gain is like not looking at like old pictures of myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's something sometimes people accidentally fall into. Um,
Yeah.
it's a hard one though, because I remember Kareem being like, delete all your photos on Facebook or whatever like that. And it's hard, isn't it? Because sometimes there are memories attached. So just, I guess, not purposefully going in and having a look
Yeah.
at all of those photos. And then if you do happen to see one, like I remember seeing one like on somebody's wall in my family, like a picture of me. Um, like remembering the life around it.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it wasn't even, I didn't even need to do that. Like I didn't for that those ones, I didn't need to see the life around it because I automatically saw sadness.
Okay.
Like I saw the photo and I felt the emotion of what I was going through at that time. I did not feel like I was like sad for myself that I experienced that. But I guess maybe at a healthier weight where, maybe always looking at like what did I need to do to be that weight,
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely, yeah. And that's another one where I had to really forcibly do that at
Yeah.
first. I had to like make myself complete the picture kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
look at those sorts of photos of me with like really rose tinted glasses of like, oh, I must have been so happy. And then I
Mm,
had to force myself to be like, what was my routine like? What was my day
mm,
like? What was my thinking like? What was my relationships like? To be like, was I like challenge that? Was I actually in a good place there?
absolutely.
Like, yeah, exactly like you're saying, like remember the life around the photo kind of thing. But then just like we're saying with the lens, at some point it just switched and then my thinking just did it naturally. Like I don't have to force myself to think like that anymore. I naturally do it, but I probably had to force myself, I had to train myself to do it a little bit.
Yeah, no, 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 absolutely. And like even now, you must look back on them. Yeah, when you see photos now, I don't know, do you see the emotion? Do you know what I mean with that? Like I just
Yeah,
immediately like
100%.
I just want to give her a hug.
Me too. Yeah,
I
me
just want to
too.
like as we do with anybody who's suffering from eating disorders, don't we?
Yeah,
We both feel like that. You just feel like the emotion of what it feels
definitely.
to be in
Yeah.
that place. It's
Yeah,
tough.
but there was
Really
a
hard.
point where I would have been like envious of other
Of
people
course.
or
Yeah.
like, yeah, been really comparative and like,
Narrative.
yeah, and just seen the body. Like it was all just about the body.
Yeah, I didn't care what they were feeling. It was
Yeah.
their body.
Yeah.
That
Who cares
your
about the
body,
life
how it
around?
Yeah, exactly. It's just the shell of you. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
like at all costs thinking, isn't it?
at all costs. Like, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether they were able to connect, whether
Yeah.
their eyes were able to, you were present. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, Also, the another thing that helped was I used to like buy new clothes as
Mm.
I was changing as well. That was really helpful. Like clothes I felt really happy in, and then I'd get rid of the old
Get
ones.
rid of the old
I'd
clothes.
give,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd give them away to somebody. And I think that helped because I think sometimes seeing old clothes that you used to fit into can be so hard initially, especially if you like open up your wardrobe and it's right there. It's like,
Mm. Was it
um,
difficult getting rid of the old clothes?
yeah, it was. It was because there was like almost like they were nice. It's like, I'd invested in them as well. Like there was like a money aspect as well. Like, right? Like you spent money, you bought them nice, then you wore them to a special day. Maybe somebody said you looked nice in that outfit. So you're like, that's my outfit that I
Yeah.
look good in. Um, but and giving away it's really hard because it feels like the ending of that. Like I'm
Yeah,
never
yeah,
going to go
yeah.
into that outfit again. But like,
Which it
okay.
should feel like as well. Like, what will life look like if you do go back into that outfit again?
Exactly. I didn't want to go back to that life ever
Yeah,
again. So like give it away.
yeah.
And then even somebody said to like, so I wanted to give away my wedding outfit. I don't actually know where it is. I think it's with my mum. I don't know where it is right now. It's in some attic maybe. But I remember saying like I wanted to give away my wedding outfit because I don't, why? Like somebody said, oh, well, your daughters might want. No, I hope they
Yeah.
never wear it. I hope they never even see that mummy fitted in such an outfit. So, like, I think that, like, remembering that, like, you don't want to go back to that. So, you don't need to keep it. Don't keep a bit of your ED in the pocket,
Yeah, yeah,
Get rid of it.
definitely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and that like I guess you're seeing the life inside the outfit as well,
Yeah.
like complete the picture as well. Like even if people thought you looked fantastic in it and you loved that, I'm not
Yeah.
denying that. Like yes, it might have felt great, but again,
Yeah.
at what cost? Like you're not just a body in an outfit. People can think it looks fantastic, but what's your life looking like? What are you sacrificing
Absolutely.
for
I
it?
mean, back and I don't think I looked fantastic at all. I thought I looked I see myself as how I really look now. I
Uh,
didn't see it. And now I look at it and I'm like, you just don't look good. And not in a mean way. I'm not talking bad about myself. I'm just like, I did not see how I looked. And I also my wedding day was awful because I was so trapped in my eating disorder. Like I was so on this like competitive mission to like be as small as I could for my wedding day, sadly that like when I was on my wedding day, I just remember it being awful and I wanted to get away. Like I was done. Like I didn't want to be around food. I didn't want to see people. All the things you don't want to do when you've got an eating disorder, you are shoved into
yeah,
doing on
yeah,
your
yeah,
wedding
so true.
day.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, get me out of this place. And then I had to go for like a mini honeymoon and had to. Can you imagine me saying I had to go to a mini honeymoon? So it wasn't a happy memory at all. It wasn't a good time at all. So yeah, it's like trying to remember that in the
Yeah.
midst of everything.
Like
Yeah.
what does it represent? Like what do
Mhm.
these clothes represent? That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I think clothes can represent something. Like there are clothes that I see and I'm like, oh, that brings back happy memories. Like I wore that on holiday. That was a good moment. But then, yeah, the ones related to your eating disorder, like, yeah, I can immediately remember which ones don't. So
Mm.
funny.
Yeah, it
Just
is. Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah. But when you're on like the way out of the eating disorder, I think like I certainly had the flip experience of like I like prized the small clothes or I
Hmm.
didn't see them as like, oh, my life was sad in those items. I saw them with really rose-tinted glasses. Like
Hmm.
again, now I can see it much more clearly, but I had to really like force myself to be like, no, what did life actually look like in those
Hmm.
clothes? And also I never want to go back to it. Like that thing of like, oh, hold it on to it just in case. Just in case
Yes.
what? My life gets shit again.
Yeah. You don't want that. You don't want like maybe I will go back to it.
No,
Yeah.
never, ever, ever be in that situation again, you know? So like you're
Mhm.
saying out the back pocket, like you don't hold on to it
Yeah,
just in
absolutely.
case.
Yeah, definitely.
Something I hear clients say a lot is about wanting like the perfect trajectory of weight gain. Like they recover in this perfect way that, I don't know, they have the correct, whatever that is, gain, which is matched by the correct level of challenging things, which is matched by, I don't know what it is, but some kind of like formula around how they recover. Have you heard people say that?
Of course, of course. Like and you're kind of given like that estimate as well of what you would gain per week. So
Mm,
that can kind of tie into that, can't it?
mm.
Like it's hard. It's like you feel like you got to kind of fit that exact amount as you're
Yeah.
going each week.
Yes, yeah. Which my body never ever did. And then I'd
Mm,
have weeks of like large jumps, like big
mm,
weight gains that I'd then have to again be like, and keep going, don't try to undo,
mm.
carry
Yeah.
on, carry on, carry on. And I found it really hard that like, why is my weight not doing what I expected it to? Or even what
Mm,
like some people around me would say, oh, this is the expected whatever. And then I'd be like, well, why is my body not doing the expected thing?
mm. What did they say? What was their answers? Or did anybody give you a good answer or anything that helped you like
I
to
mean,
accept? You're
honestly,
like, no.
I always found that quite difficult being told that there was an expected amount of weight gain or like this is what we'll aim for, or that kind of thing. I probably personally would have found it more helpful to be like anything is fine. Like, let's
Yeah.
just go for it and we'll keep going and we'll keep going and we'll keep going because I really, again, clung on to, oh, well, this is what should happen. And then I felt like that means I need to step in somehow to make sure it does
Mm.
happen. And then when it didn't happen, it felt like it was wrong. So I probably struggled more than I would have needed to maybe with that. I think I could have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It is a really hard one, isn't it, to like figure out and to accept.
Mm,
But every week I had a gain. There was no weeks where I didn't have a gain because part of the like accepting working with Karine, our therapist, was that I had to gain weight each week. And if
mm,
I didn't, she would stop working with me, or I had to get a dietitian on board as well. So
mm,
that was like a part of it. So there was part of me that was kind of like, okay, cool. I'm like, this is the intention, this is the goal. We've got to increase every week.
good.
And so, yeah. And I think it helped, like, because we had a therapy session after every single weigh in, like, I think that really helped. Of like, I'd get on, she'd be like, okay, good. There was almost like no room for like the eating disorder thoughts to come in. That's what we wanted. That's what we
Yeah,
expected.
yeah.
That's what we wanted to happen. But I can understand like that unpredictability that is part of most people's.
Mm,
Because of course your body's not going to do in this like perfectly neat
that's it.
fashion.
Yeah, it's
Like
a body.
it's a body. Like, who knows? Your heart is growing stronger, bigger, like organs, like who knows what's been like healed that
Yeah.
week. So it is difficult, but like I feel like that is part of the that education, the school that is an eating disorder, because I feel like the eating disorder taught me so much and recovery taught me so
Mm,
much about life. And I think that that letting go of like needing it to be so, so, so and surrendering to that I think that that has served me so well for life generally of just like you can't control everything.
yeah,
You can't
yeah,
like know everything.
yeah,
Like life is not like that. Life is about like letting go and seeing what comes up and what happens. And some days and weeks will be better and some won't be.
yeah.
Some days look really productive and some are you're like, what did I actually achieve today? So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like a metaphor for life, I think, as well.
Yeah, going with the flow a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I guess like the wanting it to follow a certain formula or trajectory or whatever, like that within itself is the eating disorder. It's like, well, I want a perfect recovery because that feels more acceptable.
That
But if
is so
it's feeling,
disordered. Yeah.
yeah, if it's feeling more acceptable, then it's appeasing your eating disorder. Like it's feeling much like this is what I want within my eating disorder
Mm,
definition of recovery, like within itself is a disordered thing. Like
yes.
the whole thing about recovery is letting go and
Yeah.
not you do not define it's going to look like this and this, my body's going to be this and this, my food's going to be this, like that's the whole point, is letting go of that control and that my mind decides things, and wanting
Yes.
that formula is your mind saying like this is the way recovery must be,
Yes.
like setting conditions on recovery.
Of course. Like that's what the orthorexic part was that I said like came in
Right.
as well. Like, okay, we're gonna recover, but only on quote unquote healthy foods. We're
Yeah.
gonna recover, but we're only gonna do these conditions, these
Yeah.
timings, these this, there's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. Like it can almost like be another
Ah,
condition and not letting go.
it
Yeah.
makes sense because like your brain, like when you're feeling so uncomfortable, it's just looking for like, oh my God, make this feel better, make this feel better. So if you can,
Yeah.
it'll feel better if the food ticks the right box, or it'll feel better if the weight gains the right amount, or it'll feel better if it follows the perfect, that like you just are desperately like scrambling for a way to make it feel okay. But I guess like it doesn't feel like for me, it
Mhm.
didn't feel okay and I did it anyway and then got to a point of letting go. I wasn't like,
Absolutely.
I'll make it okay if I start going to the gym and like I build
Mm,
muscle and then I'm happy with my body in that way. Like it was actually being like, I'm not controlling my food or my body or my anything movement or whatever.
yeah,
Not that I find a new way to find the perfect way to control it.
that's right. And you have to be like really on it to like be conscious of that,
Mm,
of realizing like, is this shape shifting? Is it moving? Am I trying to control it in a different way that's not a healthy way?
mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, hopefully there was something helpful in there. Like as I thought, we've had very different experiences with it. So yeah, hopefully it goes to show there are different ways to go about it. And I guess neither of us were right or wrong, and we've both ended up where we have let go kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
hopefully you could relate to something that we came out with.
Yeah, hope it was helpful and hope it took away some like practical ways or made you think or brought awareness to something that's going on for you in your recovery. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and as always, like send us messages. You can let us know topics you'd like us to talk about, and we'll cover them or get guests on to speak about them.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.